What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now in tonight's video we are going to get our Mustang running stable and healthy. I don't know if you guys remember, but last time it was throwing an engine code, it was, puffing some white smoke. I mean, that went away now. But, it wasn't quite running as good as what it normally would, and that was for two main reasons. Number one, we need to do a tune-up on this thing, and number two, it technically right now doesn't have an intake air temp sensor, so it cannot properly adjust the timing, it cannot properly adjust your air to fuel ratio, and it was making it run extremely rich. Now you may notice that over here there's only one plug. That is because on the 02 to 04 Ford Mustang GTs, the intake air temperature sensor was built into the stock mass airflow sensor. Now, as you guys know, we have our giant mass airflow sensor over there, and there's not one built into it. So we actually are going to have to run a wiring harness off of these wires. We'll probably peel it back a little more. We'll probably do it like right here. And then thankfully, we have on our cold air intake a port where we can put one. So we're going to have our intake air temp sensor in right here, and we're going to splice in the wiring harness right here so the sensor can hook up properly. There is a diagram online to show you which wires to route, but I'm just going to show you guys in this video. I will link that in the description. I'm going to have to find it, honestly. I think I lost the webpage. I can't remember if it was a forum or if it was an actual diagram. But either way, I will have that linked in the description. So if you guys are having issues with installing this and getting it to run right, you can check the description below, but I'll show you in this video. Now, as you can see right here, we have our cell tune-up that I bought off of American Muscle. It came with 8 new plugs and 8 new coil boots with the springs. So we're gonna do a complete tune-up. I know those coils are fine and everything with it is fine, but I figured if I'm gonna be replacing the plugs, I might as well do these because the coils are used. I had bought them off of Facebook for a killer deal way back before I even started this YouTube channel. So it'd probably be good, just to be safe and replace the boots and then the plugs, obviously. And then here is our wiring harness that we're gonna hook up to our intake air temp sensor. It's real simple. It's just 2 wires, red and gray. We have plenty of length so we can cut if need be, or extend it. And then our sensor's here in the box. I haven't opened it yet. Before we do install all this and figure this out, we're gonna do our plugs and boots real quick, just because while having the air intake out of the way, we can easily access all 8 plugs, or all 4 on this side. These are easy to get to. And so we're gonna do our tune-up real quick, and then we'll be back to install our intake air temp sensor. So as stupid as this may sound, I never knew that you could actually do a tune-up with the coils, meaning like interchange these parts. I had always thought that you just replaced your whole coil, and in case you guys didn't know, like me, all you do is you just pull the boot off, and as you can see, these springs are getting a little corroded. They're kind of on their last leg, so then you pull, you just twist and pull, the spring should come out. Oh yeah, you see that could have been a major problem with the reason why it wasn't quite firing right. We're actually going to clean this up real quick, throw some dielectric grease on here, and we're going to stick it back in and then go about our day. I'm back. It took a lot longer than what I thought to get those plugs in and out. Not the actual process, but just I had other stuff that I had going on like in between it, so it took a while. But we have changed out all 8 plugs, and we put on new coil boots, new coil springs, so that alone is going to make this car run a lot better. But we still have to put our sensor in order for it to run fully healthy, for it to have proper air to fuel ratios, proper timing adjustment. Before we do that though, let me show you these plugs. They were really bad. Okay, so this was our main issue. We were having white smoke puffing out of the driver's side. It reeked of fuel, and the coolant hasn't gone down. So, you know, before everybody starts saying, oh, white smoke's head gasket, you know, trust me, it wasn't that. My coolant levels haven't moved a bit since, so I'm not worried about that. Plus, another way to tell if you have a blown head gasket and you're burning coolant is your plugs will be crystal clean, and trust me, not a single one of these plugs were. It's been a while since I changed these plugs, and the only one that was like the major issue as to why I was running like rich, what I believe, was this first one right here. So not only was the spring in the coil completely corroded and rusty, but look at this plug here. I'm gonna try to get you by the light. I don't know if you can see it all that well on camera, but this thing is black, and it reeked of, I mean, it was dripping fuel from when I had first pulled it out. Now it's not that bad, but yeah, there we go. It is black. Now, none of the other plugs are like this. The rest of them are fine. And then as you see here, I'll bring you back to the light. Oh, that don't help. There we go. Corroded and rusted. And that's the tip that goes up onto the coil. See, the coil, you know, I don't know if you're able to see it well on the last clip, but the spring just slides up over a flat little pin. And this was the part that was up on the pin. It probably wasn't getting good connection at all. Part of the reason why I was misfiring, you know, and then on top of either the plug being fouled or just the fact it wasn't getting a good enough connection through this spring, it was just causing it to misfire, not burn fuel all the way, and run extremely rich. So, but I have all the plugs and everything laid out. None of them are, you know, the rest of them, they got brown to them, you know, they're just old plugs. None of them are bad compared to that first one. That first one was the worst out of all of them. Enough of me talking about the plugs and everything. You know, we got that all replaced, and the only reason I didn't record that is because, you know, it's pretty straightforward. Pull the wiring harness, you know, you unscrew it, take the coil out, take the plug out, clean it out in there, put the new plug in, tighten it, torque it, you know. It's self-explanatory. You know, I didn't feel the need to record that for you guys. But now the more difficult part, I should say, is wiring all of this up. Now, I will have a link in the description to a pin layout for the mass airflow harness here. Because if you pull this off, you'll see, hold on. There we go. You'll see on 02 to 04s, I thought it was 01 to 04, but it's 02 to 04. It has a 6-pin layout because the intake air temp sensor was built into the mass airflow. So you have 6 pins. On older models, you should only have 4, and the intake air temp sensor harness will be completely separate. But on here, the pin layout, the picture that I'll have, is it shows this, and it shows, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all labeled, and then down below it says what they are. Now, to wire up this sensor, you only need to worry about pin 1 and pin 6. Pin 1 is basically the negative. It's where everything returns to, you know, the power from all this. Pin 1 is just the return for it. And then you have to worry about pin 6. Pin 6 is literally the IAT sensor. That's what it's labeled as. So then when you look back here, we only got to worry about the gray with red stripe and the all gray. Those are the only two we got to worry about, and I wouldn't recommend splicing it in right here. I'm gonna strip this back a bit and probably do it like right here. I might leave this taped up and then cut right here and then cut right here and expose the wiring right here. So like that, and then I'll have it running. And also, we will have plenty of wire to work with on our sensor hookup for the IAT, because they probably gave me like that much, if not more, of free wire to do whatever I want with, so we don't even have to worry. So as you can see here, I kind of peeled back the tape a bit, and I was able to pull out the gray and red. The gray one's kind of buried in there. So this plug, the harness, I had ordered this off of LMR. It comes with a red wire and a gray wire. Other ones I've seen come with just black on black. It says online that if you order one with the black on black, the polarity doesn't matter, meaning it doesn't matter which wires you hook this up to. But I looked online and did a little research and made sure that, you know, there wasn't a difference. And it says that there isn't a difference, but on stock forms, meaning Mustangs and other cars that come stock with a separate IAT, the red is the signal return and the gray itself is the signal. And on here it's pretty much matching up the colors. Gray goes to gray, which is our 6-pin, which is the IAT sensor connection, and our red goes to our gray with red, and that's just like the ground or the signal return. So all we got to do is take our strippers, strip right here just a little bit, just enough to get this wire on there, and we're going to wrap it around, and I'm either going to solder it or tape it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. And then we're going to do the same with our gray, and then we're going to retape all this up so that way these bare wires aren't exposed to anything. So as you can see here, I took a wire stripper and I placed it right here and twisted the wire around a bit, and then I took a razor blade and just real gently scraped back and peeled it back a bit. If you guys have it, there are wiring harnesses that you literally can put in the middle of a wire, and when you pinch it, it strips it back right there in the wire. But I don't have one of those, so we just had to improvise and just use a razor blade and a normal wire cutter or wire stripper. So once you have exposed wire like this, you can do numerous different options. You can either solder this on there. You can do one of those quick connection, like quick splice things. You can separate the wiring, put this through, wrap it around. I mean, there's numerous different things you can do for this. We are going to be putting this through and wrapping around, and then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of solder and then electrical tape just to hold it and make sure everything's good. And then after that, we're going to put the wires back in this protective tubing, and we're going to rewrap the entire thing with electrical tape just to make sure that there's no chance of corrosion, that there's no chance of nothing. So it's going to be a little hard to record this, but I'm going to try my best. And there you have it. We have wired this thing up successfully. If you can't tell, I don't use solder and a soldering gun that much, so, kind of ignore my fail there at the beginning. But we have successfully wired this up. Red goes to red with gray, gray goes to gray, pin 1, pin 6. Like I said, I will have a diagram of the pin layout in the description below, along with what goes to what. I'll have all that listed in the description for you guys, in case if you have any questions or part of the video was unclear or whatever. So don't worry, I got you guys covered on that. Now, the only other issue is I have my intake air temp sensor, and this is the kind that just pops into place. This isn't the kind that threads in. If you look on the SVT Lightnings, they have a kind that threads in, but on Mustangs, there's a kind that just pops in. And now, I didn't think to order a rubber bushing or anything, so in the meantime, what I did is I grabbed one of my spare spark plug sockets and I took the rubber piece out, and I actually made a cut down the middle, just enough for it to sit over it fully. And then what that's going to do is it's going to hold our temp sensor in place when I push it in. So that's going to be our rigged up system here to hold this in place. It shouldn't leak, and if it leaks, it won't be too much. I'm going to try to find a bushing online and order it, something that'll slide over this, so that way when we put it in there, it'll hold it in place. I didn't even think to order it or even look for one. I just assumed that, oh yeah, this will just pop right in place, we'll be good. I didn't even think anything of it. But, this is going to have to work for the time being. There you guys have it. You have now successfully wired in a external intake air temp sensor. For whatever reason, most of the time this is because you're running a boosted application and you need to relocate it. That's what it is for a lot of the times. Or if you're just running a bigger mass airflow that doesn't have the IAT included. Either way, this is beneficial for a lot of people. So, but you guys know how to do it now. Like I said, I will have the diagrams and everything in the description. In the next video, we will be running this car. I'll be performing data logs, doing polls, stuff like that, making sure that everything is tuned in and that everything is good. So that way we can start moving on to the next phase of this car, which you guys will see that very soon. I have a lot of exciting and big things planned for this car. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comment if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to see anything specific. I will try my best to do that. We're still on the hunt for a second car. Right now I'm driving a little Civic as like a temporary daily, and trust me, that's not gonna stay. I'm gonna try to find another car or truck, depending, you know, deciding which way I want to go with it. I'm still not quite sure yet. Either way, we're gonna use that oil catch can on it because I would hate to waste my money. But I'm getting off topic, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Alright, so I know I said last night that I wasn't sure if there was a rubber grommet out there for the air intakes on this car. Well, I had completely forgotten that the stock air intake is in fact rubber. And so these air intake temp sensors literally just go right in the intake. There's no rubber grommet because, well, the whole thing is rubber. So I was doing a little digging. I was, you know, searching forums far and wide, trying to find, you know, a solution for this. And I came across a forum, and this guy was like, hey, look, like if your cold air intake, you know, if you need a external intake air temp sensor and you have the like the hole for it in your aftermarket air intake, he had a link to a Toyota pickup truck PCV valve grommet. He goes, the dimensions and everything on this grommet are exactly what you need for it to properly fit in your air intake and to hold your sensor. And so I'm like, okay. And thankfully I was able to order it and have it, you know, ready at the store for me. So this morning I woke up early, I went and I picked it up. This part's only like $3.15. So it's not, you know, it's not gonna break the bank or nothing. And sure enough, our air intake temp sensor fits perfectly in here. And I'm not gonna put it in just yet. I'm gonna wait to put this in the air intake. But it fits in perfectly, and same with the air intake side. Now, you may need to lube it up a little bit and kind of, you know, give it some positive reinforcement, but it will go in there. I actually then, because he also had posted a photo of it, and it happened to be with an Air-Aid cold air intake. So that's how I knew that this was gonna work, you know, for a fact. So I will also have this part linked in the description below. I know AutoZone also sells this, and I'm pretty sure O'Reilly's, because they all have these Dorman help parts. So I'm pretty sure that any parts store, you know, I don't know about Napa, but I know like any parts store should have this piece. You know, you guys can pick it up for, like I said, $3.15, and it will hold your IAT sensor, you know, in there nice and snug. You won't have any leaks or anything like that. So like I said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Help me grow this channel into something amazing. We are at 91 subscribers right now. We're so close to hitting 100. I don't think I'll do anything special for it, but it's just that triple digit milestone. You know, we are so close. So please, guys, help me grow this channel into something amazing. Share this with your friends, subscribe, like my videos, you know, help me bring this channel up to something, you know, something amazing. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.